So welcome everybody to community call number 15. So this community call, we try to run it monthly. We're a little bit delayed this month because of ETH Denver, but really this call is just to interact directly with the community, to basically chat about our roadmap, some developments that have been going on at Superfluid, and to give you a chance to share your thoughts and feedback and questions you have about Superfluid. So the agenda for today, we're going to start off with an overview of Console V2, which is something you guys may have seen on Twitter last week, but Sam is going to give us an overview and he's going to run through the changes to the latest edition of Console. And then we're going to have some Hackathon Project presentations. So we'll have deSIP, we'll have Loudverse, and we'll have SuperX. So deSIP is from Road to Web3, and Loudverse and SuperX are from Biddle Week at ETH Denver. So that's going to be awesome to see what the latest projects are. And then lastly, we're just going to open it up to projects, questions, anything you might be wondering about Superfluid or what we have planned for the future. That's really the time to ask your questions there. But before we kick it off, I'm just going to pass it over to Fran to speak quickly here.
Hi guys, thanks Reese. So yeah, just briefly wanted to talk about something that I'm sure a lot of you might be expecting us to have something to say about, right? So since the last community call we've had, obviously there was a major hack on the Superfluid protocol. This happened a couple of weeks ago, just before just as we prepared to go to ETH Denver. It was very shocking. It was very hard on us. We did basically what we could, which was find the bug as quickly as we possibly could, fix the bug, and refund as much as we could the affected parties. It was a very hard time for our community, but it was great to see so many of you reach into our DMs or even publicly kind of supporting us, and that kind of support really means a lot. So I want to thank everyone who was there for us at that time. Since then, we've moved towards some extra security measures. We've engaged 2 audits, one of which has already started, and we've put out a bug bounty. So what I wanted to do actually was mainly to invite everyone to have a look at the bug bounty. As you build on the Superfluid protocol, there might be you might have an occasion to find something, right? And it's currently up to $200,000 for anyone finding a severe bug. Nobody's submitted anything real just yet, although we got 1 fake submission. But it would be great if everyone in the chats that has any kind of understanding of security or any grappling with these kinds of themes would have a look and maybe submit something if you find it. Ultimately, security for us is very important, so we're not going to stop here. We're probably going to have more audits, do everything we can in order to get everything back on track. But again, appreciate everybody's support. Don't want to make the call about this, but rather want to make the call about the fact that we're still building. We were at ETH Denver. Everybody was extremely excited about building on us. And, overall, we want to look forward, not backwards. So I'll leave it to Sam, who's going to drive you all through the Console V2.
All right. Thanks, Fran. Thanks, guys. So let me share my screen and I will demo the console here. Can we see my screen? I get thumbs up. Yes, okay. All right, guys, so this is the Console V2. Casper, who's on the call today, is, I believe, the lead mastermind behind this. So credit can be directed to him. I'm just presenting it. Now, this is meant to be something for both developers and power users of the protocol to use to just manage their streams, IDA subscriptions, and then just get like a good, almost like in-depth Etherscan style view on what's going on within the protocol. So the first thing you'll see here is that we have dark mode enabled, right? So we can toggle this on and get the nice dark mode, which I'll use for the rest of the presentation here. And if I zoom in, a bit, we can see for each network, we've just got a list of some of the most recently updated streams, right? So I can toggle through here and see some of this stuff. But what's more useful is just this address bar. So anytime I want to do some kind of search, I can just paste in an address here. So let me paste in, let's grab my address up here that I use for testing. You can see that I have this address active on multiple networks. So I can click on Polygon, for example, and we can see some ingoing and outgoing streams. If I want to, I can favorite this address and add it to my address book. We can call it, hang on, just popped up there. My address 1. Boom, this is saved. And now anytime I click here, we have this address listed. So I can click through and toggle through my different addresses to just go back and view things that I need to see often. And we can see in each individual address here, we see the account type. So if this was a token, it would say it's a token. If it's a super app, it would say it's a super app. Here, this is just a regular account. It's an EOA I'm using. And if I scroll down, I can see that we have lots of streams, both incoming and outgoing here. And if I click on any of the stream details, I can see more data. So if I want to, I can take a look and see, all right, what the current flow rate is, when it was last created, when it was last updated. And then we can see the stream periods as well, which is just a stream period is just a new stream period is created every time a stream is either updated or created, right? So if I were to update this stream, there'd be a second stream period here that might be relevant for me to take a look at. And then one very, very cool thing I can do is I can click on this View on Subgraph Explorer button to have this just pulled up in an embedded instance of GraphIQL here. So this just pulls up a query so I can get more information. And we can see here, I can make a custom query. We can toggle things on and off as well using this Explorer, which is pretty cool. And this, if you're a developer, what's amazing about this is that this will give you probably some inspiration for different queries you want to write for your own application, right? So feel free to just like take these queries we have here, rip them, pull them into your own application and use them there. But I'll move forward and we'll show some of the other aspects of this and then come back to some more custom queries. One other thing that you can do is just search for token addresses. So maybe for some reason, I'm interested in seeing activity around Super ETH or ETHX. I can type in a token address, or not a token address, a token symbol, and it's case sensitive. But like if I click on MaticX, we can see information on a specific super token, right? We can see that this is listed. We have the underlying token address here. And then we have all streams, indexes, and events related to this token. So again, this takes a second to load just because there's quite a few events. This is also very useful just on the developer side, right? If we want to see events, we can do that. If I just did some kind of transfer with this token, I can pull up the events. I can see, all right, we have the transaction hash. If we pull this up, this will just take me directly to Polygon scan. Again, just kind of linking everything in one place, similar to how like Polygon scan or Etherscan would do it. And then finally, one final thing that might be useful is checking out both super apps and indexes, right? So one good example of viewing both a super app and an index together might be with Ricochet. So this is a Ricochet market that I've played around with myself, right? With this market, you can stream USDC in and get ETH back. And part of the way that Ricochet does this is every hour on the hour, give or take, right? A few minutes, I believe. They'll create an index. They'll update the index by giving you shares in that index if you have been streaming funds into this pool, and they'll distribute funds to that index. So here I am, I'm in this Ricochet market, and I can see inside of indexes, we have all the publications created for this particular index, and then all the subscriptions as well. But let me click on one of these here with this index. We can see that there's a lot of distributions. Again, once like I said, roughly every hour, give or take a bit. And we can see how much is actually being distributed, right? So we can see total amount distributed, total units, information on the index and the overall pool itself, right? And again, all this stuff is useful if you're trying to just do deeper level exploration, either as a power user or a developer. Okay. So then the final thing to touch on is just some of the custom Subgraph Explorer bits. So if I click on Subgraph Explorer, I can come in here and get custom, I can write custom subgraph queries to get specific data directly inside of the console without having to have a separate tab open with the Graph Explorer and needing to write a bunch of custom queries there. So I can use one of the examples, right? This is just an example query for super tokens. You can see this here. We can toggle through by different chains if we want. I can redo this for Gnosis chain. I can toggle on and off the Explorer if I want to. And then we can also, if we want, go into the Superfluid docs and pull these up as well in a separate tab. So if I want to read through the Superfluid docs and look for an interesting query, let's go find one down here. But this is just a stream between two random addresses. So we'll remove all this. I'll paste this in, hit play. And we can see on Gnosis chain, we have some streams open between these addresses with a couple different tokens. We'll prettify this, make it look a little bit nicer. And again, you're welcome to come in here, change addresses, use the Explorer to get additional information, right? Like I could toggle created at timestamp off and redo it, right? And we have more custom information here, right? So for me, as somebody who's done like some development work, I actually just did a project last week for ETH Denver, which was kind of fun. I use this very heavily, right? It was very useful to come in here, write some custom queries. It was really useful to be able to just see data on streams, like for a given token. And yeah, I highly recommend you guys using this. So I'll pause here. I'll let our team jump in if they have anything else that I might have missed, and I'll let you guys ask some questions if you have any. So that's the console.
Just really quickly from our end, just had that poll for who's tried out console v2. 30% said yes, it's amazing. 40% maybe, need to learn a little bit more about it, and 30% no. So there's a big portion that do need to still try it out, but the latest revision is pretty new, so that's understandable.
Cool. Yeah, try it out, guys. Highly recommended. Dark mode, you can't pass up dark mode, right? I know Joshua, you like dark mode, right? So if Joshua likes it, we should all like it.
It's got to be good.
Yeah, no, I've been pushing for the dark theme for a minute. By the way, so I mean, I've been an advocate of this for a while now, but if any of you guys are developers, or you're looking to maybe like dig more into like what's actually happening on chain, GraphQL is the way to go. It's worth learning. This bit of the console right here, like being able to query the subgraph, the UI is super helpful, obviously, but this stuff can give you, I mean, ridiculous insights that otherwise aren't really available with just traditional event logs. So highly recommend you guys check this out.
Awesome. If we don't have any questions, I can pass it off to Yao to actually introduce some of the hackathon projects.
Yeah, hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. So here are some very interesting hackathon projects. The first one is with the deSIP team. The application allows you to DCA to hedge pools. So now let's leave the stage to Xinmei.
Yeah, hey guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's a bit quiet, but we can kind of hear you.
Right, I know why. Yeah, how about now?
That's better. Maybe even a bit too loud, but no, it sounds good.
Okay, I can just, yeah, I think this should be enough. Okay, so let me just begin. I just share my screen. I hope you can see my screen. Right. Okay, perfect. So our project is called deSIP, and what we do is we provide hassle-free systematic investments for all your crypto assets. And today's agenda is that we are going to introduce deSIP and under the hood how it works and what has been our progress till now and what's next. So that's that we are excited about, especially what's next. So introduction to deSIP. So it's a non-custodial project platform wherein you can stream into different protocols. And for now, we provide DHedge. So if people are unfamiliar about DHedge, it's basically, you can think of it as robo-advisors for crypto or else mutual funds, if you know about them. And yeah, so people create custom funds and custom strategies, and they deploy it on DHedge. So the theory is that you earn more than just DCA or more than holding. So yeah, and so what deSIP does is that we leverage these different DeFi protocols, and we try to provide as much good of a user experience as we can. And so the whole thing is that it should be very easy for people to invest into DeFi. Right. So how it works? We don't really have a live website now, but I'll just tell you briefly how it works. So you connect your wallet. That's step one, and then you choose your you choose your pools. So let's say you like DHedge and you saw there's a very interesting pool, and you want to stream into that pool. So you can just start streaming using our front end. And what deSIP does is that it periodically invests your tokens into these pools. And in return, you get DHedge PTX. So basically DHedge pool tokens. These are the super tokens, right? And so what has been our progress? I have completed smart contracts. I have done the deployment as well. And the only thing remaining is that mainnet testing. We need to know how it performs live on mainnet. That's remaining. And the next thing is Moralis middleware. So we are using Moralis for smooth user experience as well as for querying data efficiently. And yeah, so we are yet to set up that, but we do have some plans as to how we will leverage that. And yeah, user interface. So it's half done, I guess. JB is the one who is leading the front end aspect of our project. So according to me, actually, I think it's half done. We have some preview we will show next. And yeah, so the main protocol that we are providing service for is DHedge. And that has also been completed, but testing is still remaining. So right now we'll see preview. These pictures are actually of live website, live in the sense what we are developing right now. So let's just see that. So going with the theme, we have two themes, dark mode and light mode. I insisted that our team have a dark mode, at least as much as I remember, and everyone agrees that in our team. And like according to me, the light mode turned out to be better. I don't know why, but it just both are good, but light mode I feel it's better. So this is how it looks. This is the front page that you see, and as you can see, these are the different protocols that we are going to provide service for. We have DHedge, and Enzyme is like coming soon. And this is how the modal looks. So this is how you actually start a stream to any token any pool that you want. And all of this data and all is provided by Moralis server that we have set up, and also DHedges their own API. So we are using everything that's possible. And this is how a dashboard looks. It's still work in progress, and this is how we plan it will look. As you can see, there's each tab is actually a fund. You can see which asset you are actually streaming, what's the rate per month, and how much you have streamed, what's uninvested. That is, you can still remove those tokens, and what's the balance of your own DHedge PTX, basically, right? And total value streaming. So that's according to, I think, the whole fund that's getting the stream. So I think that's total value streaming. And also daily and yearly. So that's that's the API that you will get daily and yearly, how much, what's its performance and all. Right. So what's next? As I said, we are yet to test smart contracts on mainnet. We are still waiting for whitelist of our contracts. And yeah, we have to refine our UI and UX. We need to test it out. We have to see how it will work, what we can add to it. And most importantly, since I'm the one writing the smart contracts, I have still a bit of time because I'm absolutely useless on front end aspect. So I'm thinking about what to do next. Which protocol should I go for? Which protocol? So I would like your opinion. Like I have a couple of them in my mind. One is Enzyme, but they are not live yet. And another is Yarn. So that's interesting. Yarn protocol. I was just thinking about it yesterday, and I thought, it will be easy to integrate compared to Enzyme. And they are on Arbitrum. That's the problem. And it's not live yet. The Superfluid is not live yet on Arbitrum. So that's another problem. And yeah, so that's basically it. So that's our presentation. If you have any questions, you can direct it to me or any of my teammates. They'll be happy to help.
Thanks, Chinmay. This is cool stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just to be clear, like all of these pools that all of the protocols that we are bringing under the same umbrella is called super suite. So it's a super suite, and then it has many other protocols. So currently it's just DH, so it's super DH, and the other one will be super enzyme once it goes live on Polygon mainnet. And then whichever protocol comes in next, we'll just add to that. It's like that. In our hackathon project, we had another DCA aspect, and that didn't use superfluids, but yeah, that was a part too. I'm not really sure what we are going to do with it because it doesn't fit into the same ecosystem.
Yeah, I think that's been shelved for now because next will be which protocol we have to go. I'm thinking Yarn or else Enzyme. Enzyme was what we decided, but since it's not live yet, and I don't know how complex it would be, so we are not really. I don't know what next to do. Yeah, so that's it, I guess.
But anyway, good work to you guys, and let's keep in touch for the next steps and how you're gonna better choose between two projects.
Sure, thank you.
Sure, yeah, thank you.
So the next one will be on stage is from East Denver, one of our winners of East Denver. Their project is called Loudverse, and it's a two-sided marketplace for funding public goods. So now let's leave the stage to Tom, please.
Hey, thanks everybody. Thanks for having me. That was a really cool demo too. The previous one, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm in a WeWork here, just trying to find a spot where it's quiet and there's a plug. So I think I found it. Yeah, how's it going? So, our idea was basically a two-sided marketplace, and I have some visuals that I'll jump into in 1 second. But the idea was a two-sided marketplace to help creators and artistic folks. So on one side of our marketplace, we have creators and their collaborators and such, and then on the other side of the marketplace, we have fans, funders, commissioners. And so, I'll kind of talk about a quick problem statement, jump into a video demo of our DApp, which we built like the last 10 days. I had a team of 4 of us, counting myself, and then talk a little bit about the technologies used and where from. When I first found Superfluid, I thought it would be perfect for this use case. So kind of excited to show that off, and I think we'll be able to see it in the video. So let me try and route it. I'll share my screen and just give me a quick thumbs up if you're getting audio, because I'm not exactly sure it'll work on the first try. It's not working.
Yeah, I don't think we can hear audio, at least when you played it right there.
All right, give me 1 second. I had this working the other day. Does anybody remember how to do this? Sorry, I know we're live and recording. Basically, when I share my screen and play, I believe there's a setting that allows me to have the audio stream in from the app that I'm sharing.
You have to stop sharing your screen and start sharing it again and click the button on the bottom left-hand corner.
Share sound. Good call.
By public goods like music, poetry. Web3 offers creators many opportunities to fund and monetize their work, but there's still an unmet need in open design space for funding harder to quantify public goods like music, poetry, and theater at scale. Introducing Loudverse. Loudverse is a two-sided marketplace to help creators sustainably ship creative work. On one side is creators and their collaborators. On the other is fans and their funders. Let's jump in to see how it works. All right, so here we have the Loudverse homepage. You can see that we want to be chronotype inclusive for both solar punks and lunar punks. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the open calls. So here are creative projects that have already been posted. I'm going to go ahead and connect my wallet and post a new call. Give it a compelling title, a nice description, set the category and genre and a minimum funding goal, and then talk about my deliverable and how many days I'll need to pull this off. Let's jump to the other side of the marketplace. I'm going to go ahead and connect my wallet as a fan and browse the open calls for funds. Solarpunk strings. This one looks interesting. But before contributing, I want to take a look at the creator and see what they've done in the past. Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and contribute 0.01 ETH to this project. Now, if this project gets successfully funded, I'll receive a crowd commission, which is a non-transferable NFT that represents my proof of patronage. Let's go behind the scenes to see how the matching works. We use a mechanism called double constrained quadratic funding, which calculates matching funds with both a fixed subsidy pool and minimum viable funding goals for the projects. This ensures that funds are sent only to viable projects and maximizes public benefit. Finally, at the end of each matching round, we select one project at random to receive a bonus 0.1 ETH. Now that the round is over and my call has been successfully funded, as the creator I can go in and start a stream which will continuously stream me funds over the project timeline. When the work is complete, I can upload the final deliverable, in this case an audio MP3 of the string quartet. This will mint a piece of smart art, which is an NFT collectible that allows artists and contributors to co-create and share in the financial upside. So in this example, I'm going to create a royalty allocation table with Slice Protocol. I'll take 50%, I'll give 30% to a solar-focused charity, and I'll offer 1% each to the 20 contributors that helped fund my project. Okay, let's take a quick look at the technology. Loudverse is built on the Ethereum blockchain with some of the most innovative technology in Web3 today. So what's next for Loudverse? Possible futures include on-chain calls for collaborators, genre-specific matching pools and governance structures, or continuous preference signaling by community members. So the too long didn't read is Loudverse is all about helping artists ship creative work with some awesome new Web3 primitives. Loudverse. Be seen, be heard, be experienced.
Right on. Yeah, so that was our demo. And I had the big difference, I think, with how creators are often paid, half upfront, half on delivery, or kind of a milestone system. What we wanted to do is calculate that flow rate by taking how much the fund raised and then essentially dividing that by how many days they needed to pull it off and then streaming them the funds over that period so that they have more control and autonomy over how they access the funds. But yeah, any questions or ideas?
I have a question actually related to the quadratic funding that voting that you're putting inside. I didn't know exactly how it works for your application. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I'll give a quick intro, and then I'll throw a link to like a 3-page white paper that we wrote over the past week. But basically, the idea is often with quadratic funding, there's a constraint, which is like the size of the subsidy pool, or sometimes the maximum that each project can receive from the subsidy pool. we wanted to add on another layer. So if you think of like a Kickstarter project or a GoFundMe project, oftentimes like they won't be able to successfully complete the project if they don't hit a minimum funding goal. So, you know, whereas on a market like Gitcoin, there's no minimum funding for a lot of things. It's just this open source software project will receive the funding that it gets, and that's great. And then it will get some matching from the subsidy pool. It's not like the open source software project won't go forward if the minimums aren't hit. So what we wanted to do was add a minimum viable funding target for each project. Like in this example, if I can't afford to pay the violinists and violist and cellist, I can't do my string quartet. So if a project doesn't hit that minimum viable funding goal, we don't give it any funds, and we redistribute those subsidies to the other funds in the round. This actually creates a dynamic, kind of like instant runoff voting, which one of the engineers on my team really figured out. It's basically, it's not super complicated, but there's a recursive algorithm to say basically which project is furthest from its minimum goal. Okay, boot that out, then calculate if anybody else made it. So we have to recursively go through to support the constraint of subsidy pool and minimum viable funding goals for each of the projects. And yeah, if you're interested to learn more, let me drop a link to a white paper that we pulled together. It needs a lot of work. Again, we did this like in the hackathon under duress, but it was a lot of fun to kind of think through.
Yeah, please drop the link. I'll take a look. Thanks.
Awesome.
Any other questions?
No, yeah, I thought it was really cool. I saw the team in person as they were hacking it out, so it's cool to see how much you guys got done. I mean, you guys ended up putting together a white paper and the whole front end and everything. Yeah, I was impressed. Good work.
Well, so I was inspiring the team. I said, hey, we've got a great idea with great execution, and that's what it's all about. And I said, nobody's going to out hustle us. I don't think we partied at all for like 10 days, and we just worked the whole time. So, but it was a lot of fun. Nice.
Nice.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on. This was cool.
Cheers, man. Thank you for coming. That's awesome.
It's great to see that there was someone that wasn't partying at Ephemer.
We wanted to win over partying. So after we won, then we partied.
Great philosophy. Thanks again for coming. Now we are introduced to SuperX. SuperX is also one of our winners in December. They did an integration with the Oplist Bounty. I'll leave the stage to Freeman and Jason.
Hi everyone, can you hear us? Great, cool. Yeah, so we're Jason and my team member Freeman should also be in this call. We also have two others that worked with us, but unfortunately they're not able to make it to this call today. So we'd like to introduce to you guys SuperX, which is basically a sort of extension on the Superfluid protocol. And what we allow is for, we create this UI to make you manage and create streams that are essentially one layer removed. So instead of having everything deduct from one wallet, it will create essentially burner wallets and it will deduct from that. So you're not as at risk of losing your entire balance if you forget to cancel a stream, for instance. So I'll start off with just a quick diagram to kind of show off our motivation and like exactly what's going on behind the scenes. So is this screen share working? Can you guys see this? Looks good. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's a really basic diagram, but normally when it comes to Superfluid and you create your streams, everything comes from your account and you send your streams to whoever is the recipient of the stream. Each stream is great. It has its own flow rate. You can change the token, things like that. It's a very flexible protocol, but the issue is when everything comes from that one account, it's sometimes difficult to keep track of all your balance and funds and such. So with our project SuperX, we wanted to allow for essentially burner wallets, and each stream would come from their own, we call them streamers, and these have a certain amount of balance. So if let's say you forget to close the stream, it's able to kind of withdraw from that balance, and then it goes to insolvency. From there, you don't lose out on your main account. So yeah, with that motivation, let's talk a little bit about how it works. We did create really quick UI for this. And like you guys already said, this is a hackathon project, so we didn't spend a lot of time on this. Some of the features are still in the works, unfortunately, but essentially the idea is we have a hierarchy of smart contracts. So the first contract is they're all creating other smart contracts. So we have I guess the base smart contract, we call that a controller factory. And when you're a new user on the SuperX UI, it will tell you to create your controller. And each controller is associated with one account. And once you create your controller, the controller is the thing that manages each individual streamer, which is associated with the stream. So here I already have a controller set up, and I actually have some streams set up here as well. And we have a little UI here to create the stream. We can edit existing streams. We can open this to see details about the stream. And it's basically just, like I said, an extension of the Superfluid protocol, with the exception that it's coming from burner wallets. Freeman, is there anything you would like to, I don't know, talk about? Maybe more on the UI side of things, or?
No, like, yeah, that's pretty much it. And we tested it and it was working. You could see streams coming in from the Superfluid dashboard. And these are coming from the address of the streamers, which is in itself is just a smart contract, which is it's like acting sort of as a proxy wallet. Yeah. Yeah.
So Freeman and I we're actually first year university students at the University of Waterloo. So we're really new to this Web3 blockchain space. But it was a lot of fun working on this hackathon project, and managing to win a Superfluid bounty was a really exciting moment for us. Right now we're kind of just working on the UI some more, ironing out some bugs and maybe like rearranging some things to make it easier to use for the end user. But yeah, a lot of cool things we learned about the Superfluid protocol and working with Web3 Solidity and all that. Do you guys have any questions about our project or things, comments?
I'm curious to know what framework you were using for the UI. It looks very clean, and you said it was quick, so I'm wondering if it's some sort of existing framework.
Yes, happy to take this question. I love this framework. It's called Tracker UI. I'm pretty much a salesman. I encourage everyone out there to give it a try if you're using another framework. Makes everything really, really fast to make, and also relies on a lot of good principles from CSS, so you don't have to constrain yourself to a framework like Bootstrap or a Material UI.
Cool. Maybe put a link in the chat so we can check it out as well.
Sure.
And I think Thomas has a question.
Yeah, because you used the expression of a burner wallet, but I understood it's kind of using a contract.
Yeah,
so,
it's more of a contract than a wallet.
Okay,
sure.
Because burner wallet is kind of usual term you use for a wallet within the browser, where you have just your private key within the browser, and therefore I was a little confused. So you're using a contract, right?
Yeah, it's a contract, and you have to deposit funds into that contract, and then the stream would come out of that contract and not come out of you.
And the owner of the contract?
The owner of the contract is going to be your controller, which is associated with your account.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for coming to present. It's always nice to hear, young generations are very interested in Web3 and the blockchain, and they're making lots of interesting projects. And my question would be, what will be the next steps? What do you guys think you want to or improve? Did you already discuss a little bit?
We didn't really discuss that next steps yet as much, but definitely our main priority now would be to improve this user interface and streamline the process for the end user to be able to create and manage their streams. And then some things we were thinking about was integrating with other platforms that run off of Superfluid. So, we know Ricochet is something that people use a lot to make like staking and investments, right? So that runs off of Superfluid. Maybe we can have some integration with Ricochet and allow people to make investments with SuperX off of that kind of proxy contract.
Yeah, additionally, a couple things we're considering are also the ability for multiple people to deposit to a single stream, because right now it's just sort of this one-to-one mapping of controllers and streams. Yeah.
All right. I think she may had a question. Is there a plan for managed streams, like stream for a duration or something?
Based on our understanding of the Superfluid protocol, it's very difficult to automatically end the stream. I don't think that's something that's that we're able to do. But what we have is we have a ETA calculation based on the current balance and the flow rate. We can determine how much longer the stream has to operate. So we can periodically send reminders to a user or some other method to remind them to end the stream or top up the deposit to ensure that they don't go insolvent.
Okay, cool. Now I think, Rhys, maybe we can go to the next stage.
Yeah, for sure. So thanks guys for presenting. Again, awesome projects, and love to support you guys as you continue to build it out. I think now 10:47 here, so we can now open up for questions, any ideas you guys have about Superfluid. If anyone wants to share their project or some ad hoc news about what they're working on, now's the time.
While we inevitably wait the awkward silence for someone to pose a question, maybe I could show something cool. Can I show something cool, Rhys, really fast?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right, hang on.
It better be cool, man. It better be.
Big
All
cells,
right.
big cells, big cells.
All right, so look at the Superfluid. This is like a take on this, like the universe that is Superfluid. You guys see this?
Oh yeah.
All right, so this right here is all of our streams open on, I think this is Polygon, or maybe it's a portion of the streams open on Polygon with USDC, I think, right, Vincent? Is that right?
Yep, that's correct.
So there's this idea that we talk about quite a bit around networked cash flows, right? So what happens in a universe where I get, let's say I get paid in a stream, and then I decide to stream into Ricochet and then pay my subscriptions in a stream and then pay my other bills in a stream one day, right? And you have this world where like I'm streaming, they're streaming my money to somebody else, and it's all this one big network. This is kind of a glance into what this could potentially look like, right? You have all these different nodes, which are accounts, right? And the things connecting them, like if I zoom in, are the streams themselves, right? So you can see like I have all these different streams between this little cluster of nodes here. Same thing if I like zoom out and go up to this little cluster. Some of these are almost very obviously apps or contracts that are distributing things, right? Like this is probably some kind of contract. But you can imagine what happens like as this continues to grow, you have more connections between all the different nodes. And this is just one token, right? One token on one network, right? What happens when there's hundreds, if not thousands of these? This is the kind of thing we think is very cool. Well, it's cool to see this as like a visualization, right? We'll probably add this to the console at some point so you guys can see this and play around. But yeah, just wanted to show this because we're a big fan of this visualization. Which white ones are, yeah, white ones are outflows. Yeah. Super app looks isolated. When super app to super app functionality? Chinmay, always asking the hard-hitting questions.
I think this is just a certain amount of the tokens, though, right? I mean, a certain amount of users.
Yeah, it's the top 100. Not
Oh, okay.
Yeah. There's definitely way more. I just didn't want it to break.
Yeah, because when I was running this locally, it broke my computer. So it's good that you capped it.
See you guys.
We were using this during ETH Denver. I don't know if anybody saw it, but we ran a bit of a little contest, and that was quite fun. We were using this to track the winners.
Yep. So I will leave that. I'll leave that there, but more of that to come. Now people have questions. There we go. Now we can do.
Yeah, actually, I've seen that from one project. It's called Elementars. And they are not for streaming, but for, you can trace accounts 1 cent to how many and so on. And they also have their customer is from FDA, from the secret agency in the United States. So that's what I see. On their website, it's quite similar, but for us, it's streaming. So we can trace back who is streaming to who, and then trace until the source. That's kind of interesting.
We're not feds though, guys. We're not going to track your streams like that. Good.
Maybe Tom, can you say a little bit more about yourself? Where are you based? A little bit leakage about your identity, if you don't mind.
Easy.
He's a Fed. No, I think Jimmy's got his hand up, right? Does he want to ask a question?
Yes. So it's more of a question for everyone. Is that is anyone excited for Yearn on Arbitrum? Like, what do you feel about Yearn finance? And if, let's say, I was planning to create contracts for 1 or 2 protocols, and in my mind it feels Yearn is easier to integrate and it will be quick for me at least. So yeah, is like, do you think there is demand for that? That's my question.
So you guys feel free to drag me for being a DeFi poser here, but I'm actually not super familiar with Yearn. Could you give like a I guess a brief overview of like what it is and I guess how streaming might be able to help that out? I mean, aside from the obviously like continuous investment.
Yeah, so I'm just oversimplifying. So if I'm saying something wrong, please correct me. But Yearn is basically, they create some set of strategies called vaults, and these vaults, they let you earn a high percentage of yield. So that's just basic idea. It's like automating different interaction with different DeFi protocols, just strategies basically. And streaming, it won't be, I mean, it will make it easier for people, let's say, who get their salaries on chain and they want to invest it into certain DeFi protocols, or they want to get yield out of it. So they can just start a Superfluid stream into such protocols, and then they will get yield. So that's just the basic idea. And apart from that, I was thinking, because a long time back in Ricochet server, I saw that there was a talk about meme finance and as well as a Yearn. So they had some sort of partnership or proposal going on for, I guess, for treasury management, basically. Is that so the Yearn will use meme finance for their treasury management. And Yearn is a very big ecosystem, actually. Like, I mean, personally, I see Andre Cronje, basically the creator of like Yearn, as some sort of idol, basically. I mean, he's cool. That's it. So I was pretty interested about Yearn and seeing that it has got a very good following as well as a huge community. Yeah, I just wanted to maybe we can have some sort of Superfluid Yearn integration wherein we can provide treasury management services basically, and some sort of things like that basically. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea. I'd love to try it out. You know, I'm always looking for new things to stream to. You know.
Yes, me too. I like to build, so I'm looking for new protocols to build on. So I don't know. Let's see which one.
Yeah, it'll be exciting to be on Arbitrum, and we'll be able to do, you know, more of these kinds of integrations. I was a Yearn fanboy as well, so I feel you.
Cool. So I guess if nobody else wants to jump in, I kind of have a little bit of a project that just kind of like planning out, designing a little bit. You know, I was kind of hoping to share with some of you guys. Maybe if anybody wants to kind of contribute to this, I think it's going to be a bit of it's like an open source general thing. So a little bit of an overview. For those of you that don't know, you know, with things like token streams, right, you have to deal with solvency. Basically, you don't want to let a stream go forever, but at the same time, we can't react to timestamps. So we have sentinels, right, that, you know, we basically just run these, you know, to make sure that that account stays solvent, right? And this is where the deposit comes in. This is where liquidations come in, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of stuff I'm not going to really get much into. Point is, like, this is the secure base layer security of the network or of the protocol. Now it looks like basically every project that's building on Superfluid needs some amount of off-chain infrastructure, right? Like Ricochet has keepers, Diagonal is going to have keepers. I imagine, I think there was some mention about deSIP, you know, eventually having keepers to make sure that accounts stay solvent, right? So we're kind of thinking, instead of everybody having to reinvent this wheel of, sorry if it's super noisy, I'm in the coffee shop this morning. So instead of having to reinvent this wheel basically every single time, why don't we create a general purpose, you know, Superfluid data aggregation bot, right? It brings together all this data. And then we basically have a layer on top of that where we can build our own arbitrary actions, right? So in the case of the Sentinel, you're closing accounts when they go insolvent, as long as you're the pick. In the case of Ricochet, you're doing a 30-minute interval, and then separately you're doing courtesy closures. So, you know, lots of things could be done with this. And so the idea right now is we're going to build the aggregation layer first, and then after that, we're going to find a way that basically the average developer can build for this. And we're thinking about going somewhere similar, like what the graph does, where like the node is built in Rust, right? But there's sort of a WebAssembly runtime. That way, basically, we can write an assembly script, or for people that aren't familiar, it's basically just a subset of TypeScript, a little bit stricter. But what that lets you do is it basically allows any old web developer that has TypeScript experience to come in and write these arbitrary actions. And that way you don't have to sit here and reinvent the wheel, when really a lot of us really just want to build these, you know, cool super apps, and off-chain infrastructure tends to be like an afterthought. So yeah, if anybody's interested, I've started a Discord. We got a couple of people in there right now, but yeah, I'm also curious to your thoughts if anybody thinks this would be useful or helpful or anything.
I think it's a really good idea. Chinmay, are you guys looking to build your own bots? Like, do you even know where to start, or would something like what Joshua explained be useful?
Yes. I mean, I think I had a talk with Joshua regarding this, right? And we are really interested, because right now we are basically reinventing the wheel. We need to create a bot for our deSIP protocol. And it's a simple bot, but still, I mean, we don't really want to, you know, write a code for it, and big, large amount of code. If there was something like, you know, plug and play type of system, we would be really interested in that. And as well as, I guess, some of you know about Stroller protocol. That's another project that we worked on. And we were planning to work on it after DSIP. So basically, it will benefit hugely with what Joshua is describing. I don't know what's the official name for that project now, but the Sentinel Guild, right? But yeah, we are very interested. We are looking forward to it.
Awesome. Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm calling it the Sentinel Guild right now. Probably should change the name, since the Sentinel is what the Superfluid team is building, you know, but I like the idea of it kind of just being a guild. Like we're not not aiming to be like a DAO or do anything like, huge like that. It's really just building a piece of infrastructure that, I think a lot of protocols could benefit from, which by the way, like on that as well. So I think actually Axe is in this call right now. Nuno, he's done a really, really good job. And anybody else that's helped him out has done a really good job building the Sentinel out. Basically, it's a little JavaScript app, that does all this data aggregation, runs, liquidation, stuff like that. So we're hoping to kind of stand on the shoulders of giants, as much as possible because, they put together a really good bot. And so that's kind of the idea is we want to build on that and just generalize it a little bit more so that, like it's not just a matter of deleting flows now, right? Like maybe there's a specific app action that you need. It's a very specific function on your contract that needs to be called, right, to manage these streams. So, just generalizing it, I think is going to be really good. I think it could help Stroller too, right? Like being able to you basically liquidate a portion of, let's say, an Aave position, right, and then upgrade that to the super token to make sure that they don't go insolvent. I think that'd be very much doable with something like a general Sentinel. Oh, let me actually share the Discord link too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Stroller protocol will benefit hugely, and as well as we were thinking, because if Sentinel Guild comes live before we actually do active development on Stroller, what we would basically transition into would be like, let's say there are different DAOs, right? Let's say Aave, they may have their own strategy, or else Yarn may have their own strategy. So we will be basically the front end for those DAOs. So you can give us the strategy, the contracts, or anything pertinent to your strategy, and give it to us. We will somehow fix it into a Sentinel Guild, and we will give you that service. Basically, we will become the middleman essentially. But yeah, that's what we are thinking if Sentinel Guild goes live before us.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, I'll let you guys continue. I don't want to rave on about it too long, but yeah, really cool stuff there. So if you guys are looking to contribute or just want to contribute to the conversation, feel free. Either the Discord link or you can ping me, DM me directly.
Cool. So we're just reaching a few minutes over. I don't know if anyone has anything last minute that they want to share before we close the call, but yeah, now would be the time. All right. Well, thanks everyone for attending. It's been great going through the hackathon projects, talking a little bit about some ideas even that you just had, Joshua. So thanks for everyone who attended today, and hope to see you at the next one. As always, join our Discord if you're not in there already. Conversations are going on every day about Superfluid and the projects that are being built on them. So feel free to jump in anytime.
Cool. Have a good one, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye,
Everyone.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
See you next time.